Final Fantasy VII, widely considered as the best RPG of all time. Some even regard it as the best game of all time. When this game first released in Japan in early 1997, it continued Square's dominating lineage in the already popular Final Fantasy franchise. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. It wouldn't be till later that year that the true global impact of Final Fantasy VII resonated, becoming a worldwide sensation and a favoured topic between many children on school playgrounds. Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Nat. Thank you for watching this first episode of A Look At. Today I'll be talking about Final Fantasy VII. I'll be giving a brief take on its history, narrative and characters, without going too far into story, giving out spoilers. Even though at the time of recording, it's a 24-year-old game. I will also go through its gameplay, its tone, its campaign, and most importantly, its design both visually and musically. Not only do I talk about a game, but the process leads me to create acoustic covers of the game's music. These covers will ultimately become the running soundtrack for each of my videos. With that said, let's dive into it. Here's a dirty little secret. I never played Final Fantasy VII when it first came out. I wasn't one of those children that hyped it endlessly in the playground. But that didn't stop me overhearing how amazing Final Fantasy VII was, or you need to play FF7, it's the best game ever, and do I need to play Final Fantasy 1 to 6 for me to understand it? And many other things. It wasn't until a few years ago actually that I finally had the opportunity to give it a try, and to put that nagging curiosity to sleep. But does it hold up to today's modern graphically realistic designs, hyper-fluid gameplay, and cinematically executed storyline worlds? Let's start at the beginning. And yes, before you ask, I will be playing the graphically enhanced PlayStation 4 version. Back to it. It was 1994. Square has just released the incredibly well-received Final Fantasy VI. Although riding high on the success, Square immediately started work on its next installment. All Square's previous Final Fantasy releases up until this point has been with Nintendo, and they expected to continue this relationship. Yes, that's right. Final Fantasy VII was originally intended for the Super Nintendo. Originally planned into traditional 2D format, Final Fantasy VII would play very similar with its previous entries. However, with the gaming industry moving into 3D graphics, Square started experimenting with this technological approach. Wanting to break the monotony and be on the cutting edge of gaming technology, the team decided that the next installment would be in 3D. This posed a big issue between Square and Nintendo. The way Final Fantasy VII was being developed, it wasn't possible for the already aging Super Nintendo to handle. Talks did progress with the two parties. Nintendo at the time was developing the Nintendo 64, which would offer 3D graphics allowing Square the hardware to work on their visions. But there was still a long lingering problem: storage. The Nintendo 64 would still use cartridge, which limited how much memory can be stored, restricting many ideas and scenes Square has already developed. Frustrated by Nintendo's limited hardware for the upcoming release, as well as previously having to greatly modify projects due to cartridge limitations, in late 1995, Square severed ties with Nintendo, and by early 1996 announced that Final Fantasy VII would be a PlayStation exclusive. Here's an ironic fact. Nintendo originally designed a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, a partnership with, you guessed it, Sony. But it didn't work out. Sony wanted full rights on CD-based games. Nintendo refused and started a new partnership with Philips. And if you didn't realise by now, the CD add-on that Sony was making turned out to be the PlayStation. Meanwhile, Nintendo and Philips, they would go and make the CDI. Yeah, CDI. No longer having cartridge limitations, Square realised they need to invest heavily in its production for it to be a major success. They expanded the team to work on further plot points, designs and ideas. They brought in the latest state-of-the-art equipment for the best visuals and musical quality. Sony, seeing how well the project was running, allocated $10 million to the Japanese market. When it released in early 1997 in Japan, the game was showered with praises, selling millions within the first week. But this was to be expected. Sony realised they need to invest heavy to reach the Western audience. They allocated $30 million for its global marketing. This would pay off big time. As by late 1997, Final Fantasy VII was a global success, universally acclaimed by critics and fans alike. As of 2005, close to 6 million of the original PlayStation release has been sold in North America and Europe alone. You know you've done something right when the kids are going crazy about your product. Final Fantasy VII revolves around the game's overworld, the planet. The plot derives from the conception of the planet's energy known as Lifestream, and how humans are able to harness this energy to create Mako, a portable energy source for day-to-day use. Yes, it's Mako, not Mako. Although this has benefiting factors in helping many people in civilization, this process has negative consequences and dark intentions. The extraction of Lifestream is actually killing the planet, as it's slowly removing the life energy. Shinra, the company responsible for harvesting the energy, is well aware of the effects, but continue to do so, simply for profit. Avalanche, an organisation against Shinra's corrupt intent, protests profusely, even resorting to terroristic actions. There is a split between the two factions. Some praise Shinra for helping mankind with Mako energy, and sees Avalanche as a terrorist group, while some see Avalanche as a defender of the planet, and Shinra as a dishonest enterprise. The story begins with you being in the city of Midgar, and in control of Cloud, a former soldier of Shinra's armed force, and the main protagonist of the game. Cloud, now working as a mercenary, has been hired by Avalanche to help blow up Sector 7, one of Shinra's operation bases. You'll be following Barrett, the lead of the mission, as well as Avalanche. He plans to break into Sector 7 with the aid of Cloud and 3 other members of Avalanche, Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge. In between missions, Cloud and Avalanche will reside at their base, Seven Heaven, a bar ran by Tifa, a member of Avalanche as well as a childhood friend of Cloud. She is an expert in martial arts, and she'll eventually join the party. During your time in Midgar, you'll meet Aerith, and yes, it's Aerith, not Eris. I made sure to correct this. A flower girl of more importance than suggested. Aerith is the healer of the party and prioritizes on magic. As you progress, other members will join the party, including Red 13, a dog, cat type character, Kate Sith, a cat in control of a giant Moogle, Sid, a hard, gruff, foul-mouthed mechanic, and in addition there are 2 optional party members, Yuffie, a young mysterious ninja, and Vincent, a vampire that's totally not a vampire, former member of Shinra. Final Fantasy VII puts you in a pre-rendered modern/futuristic themed 3D world, with a diverse set of locations to explore, from towns, factories, bases to caves, ruins, and even amusement parks. The overworld connects you to other locations. These could be traversed by foot as well as other vehicles, which will be unlocked as you progress. Some area will also be blocked until then. The combat is an advanced version of the traditional RPG turn-based battle approach. Party members use an active time battle system in which a command action would take place once the ATB meter is filled. Limit breaks are also introduced as a wildcard. These could only be used when the individual party member receives enough damage that fills up their limit gauge. Limit breaks could vary. Some offer insane amounts of damage and can single-handedly take out one or multiple opponents. Some can be used to heal, offer effects boosts, or remove degenerate statuses. Some even have the element of chance. These could vary from who they target or how much damage it outputs. Some potentially place a negative effect or even damages its own party. The most important component of the battle system is the introduction of materia. Materia is crystallized ball of Mako energy. They are divided into 5 types: magic, support, command, independent, and summon. The green coloured magic materia is your standard magic. Whatever materia is equipped per character, that individual could use. These could be element based attacks or healing. Support materia is blue, and its role is to link up with other materias. For example, if you link up all materia with an element or restore, this would allow you to attack multiple enemies or heal all your current party members at once. Command materia are yellow and allow certain additional commands. Commands such as steal allow you to take items from your opponent, or enemy skill which allow you to copy one of their moves. You also have the pink coloured independent materia. These allow support action during battle, such as cover, in which the equipped individual could intercept and take damage for another party member. The final type is summon materia, which is red. This is the traditional summon standards within the Final Fantasy franchise. Long-time summons such as Ifrit, Shiva or Balamut, Two unique summons such as Knights of Round could be used to produce deadly attacks or offer advantages. Now here's a plot hole. Material was being used by the party to increase strength or other beneficial factors. Yet at the same time it was the end product that Avalanche was against. Surely Barrett, Tifa or even Aerith would be against the idea of using it. Like most conventional RPGs, you level up by gaining experience. EXP will boost stats, offer AP, which is used to increase Materia's strength and effects, as well as speed up how fast the ATB meter can fill. What makes Final Fantasy VII such a unique game is its tone. The game offers many themes, from meta messages in preserving life and nature to jovial humour, from sadness and despair to talks of mental health. How it resonated with the audience was the ability to balance themes within the narrative, and at no point does this feel out of place or does not connect with the characters. For example, there is a mission within the story where the serious topic of needing to rescue a party member will soften with humour. To progress into the area, you need to find Cloud, a dress. This, in turn, segues into many smaller tasks, and depending how much time you spend resolving these tasks, will result you with better rewards. Yet, as absurd as it sounds, it works. Its pacing and wackiness cuts the dark undertone and make it enjoyable and light-hearted for many, with a large portion of them being children. Like most RPGs, Final Fantasy VII has one common issue: monotonous, repetitive game flow. Square plays different type of minigames throughout to help pace the tempo, offering diversity within the process. These could vary from chocobo racing, to arm wrestling, to puzzles, and so forth. Some are easy and straightforward, some were harder, and potentially frustrating, either through awkward or dated controls. There were many side quests throughout the game, but some of the most compelling ones are the ones for both Yuffie and Vincent. Although these side quests can be missed completely due to the nature of the design, they were kept in. Not only does this add replay value, but it fleshes out both of their personalities, building a strong bond and understanding for these characters. And even if it doesn't directly affect the major beats of the plot, their presence is felt throughout the game, either through these side adventures or simply by the added character dialogues within the overall structure. This highlights the importance of characters. All of them has an extensive history. As you progress, you'll feel connected with all of them, and the more you understand why they are who they are. Alright, let's be honest here. The game is dated. The controls are clunky, and the layout is confusing. You don't really know where you're going, or you get lost a lot. These PlayStation 1 designs and formula flaws are really obvious now, and although it was groundbreaking graphically and gameplay wise at the time, Father Time has not been kind to it. However, even with the dated graphics and clunky controls, I still think this is an exceptional game, simply for one reason: buttload of dedication. This game was made with a lot of heart and attention to detail, and you could tell. Each render has been designed specifically to not just show off its technical prowess, but was designed to emphasize a detailed world that sucks you in and elevates each and every action or movement in which you, the player, engage in. Each location is unique and has its own tale or atmosphere. Every one of them has a story reason for it to be in the game, not just to show off, but to connect narrative plots. It's rare to find a game where specific locations can trigger certain emotions, but the world of Final Fantasy VII is one of those. The chibi-style character models, although not realistic, works well with the theme. In fact, I would argue, because of the chibi or deformed style, the game has aged a bit better than it would have. The cutesy style gives the game a timeless design, similar to a cartoon vibe, making it easy to just appreciate the story without making you think, wow, the models are really dated. Now, let's talk about the music. Considered one of the greatest gaming musical soundtracks of all time, the music is simply fantastic. The combination of different genres and styles makes this extremely diverse. But most importantly, it builds emotion, tension, and sets up the gameplay. What makes the music so effective is the use of repeated themes or motifs, and how it's incorporated in a variety of ways. For example, Aerith's theme. When this is used, or a variation of it is used, we instantly get an idea of calm or relaxation, which relays into the gameplay. Another example is Shinra theme. This is a really eerie sounding ostinato. So when this is used, it builds tension. It either highlights something is intense happening, or simply the fact that Shinra's around. The music is exceedingly fast. When a game introduces a battle, the music enters with a frantic and pounding rock track, giving them much needed energy, which makes the battle as epic as it could be. Next thing, you could be in a church, and the music is light, gentle, atmospheric, that sets the tone for a relaxed conversation between characters. Or when you're entering a heavy scene, the music builds the tension with an eerie ostinato, slowly layering it with dissonance and tritones, hauntingly intensifying that moment. See, I struggled to pick the tracks in this video simply because how many amazing compositions there were. I originally must have picked 15, but I had to cut them out for restriction reasons. I was well aware of the soundtrack even before playing the game. If a soundtrack has an appeal that could rival the actual game, you know they've made something special. Final Fantasy VII's vocal point has always been its narrative. The reason why this has such a legacy is because for many, this could have been the first game they played that was story-driven. By all means, this is not the first narrative-based game. In fact, there's 6 previous Final Fantasy series alone, not mentioning other series. But was this the first for many? Yes. And when you combine it with a lot of hype and marketing, strong characters and world designs, a film-like plot and a music score that is considered one of the best gaming soundtracks of all time, Final Fantasy VII was more than a game. It was an experience. This is why even today, 24 years after it's released, it still holds up. Yeah, it's not the graphical masterpiece it once considered. Yes, gameplay can be limited and controls can be clunky for some parts, but the dedication will always be there. The game was crafted with love and precision. In conclusion, if you're looking for a game for graphical reasons or over-the-top action, this is not for you. But if you want to be sucked into a world filled with timeless artistic characters, world designs, a strong narrative plot, and a sensational music soundtrack, this is one you should check out. So, if you never tried Final Fantasy VII, I implore you, give it a try. And if you have, give it another whirl. I'm sure you'll be having a smile throughout, just like I did. Thank you for watching that video of a look at. I will be releasing individual music covers on this channel. Do give this video a like and share. I will be doing more look at episodes for both retro and modern games. Do give this channel a subscribe. Leave any comments and suggestions below. Until next time, take care.